very exquisite.
How's that for an intro?
Was that semi-skimmed or whole?
Oh, I don't know. I don't even know if I want to think about it at this stage.
I like the one with the purple
so welcome to episode 2. That was a hell of an introduction. Our not fake sponsor, not fake in any way sponsor today is Chattoos, the only 100% tattoo business that also doubles as a colonic clinic.
Okay. Starting off strong. I like it.
Starting off very strong, yeah. And how you been, man?
Yeah, not too bad. To be honest, like last week, because I was off, it was a bit more of an interesting week than this week. So we're starting that off strong as well. I don't know if you've seen the craze with Goldendoodles becoming more of a popular item in households now.
Goldendoodles. So is that a poodle and a golden retriever?
That's the one,
breed?
yeah. So you can get
okay.
You can get them in different sizes. You can get them taller than a golden retriever, so that's a bit scary. Then you can get a medium-sized one, which is kind of like a Staffordshire Bull Terrier kind of size, and then the miniature ones. So my mum has made Katie and I jealous and gotten her own. I don't know how much for. It's usually frowned upon that people buy dogs, but I think as long as you give them to a proven home, that's all good. I think it's a capitalist business, but it is what it is, and I'm going down to visit on Monday, so expect a lot of Instagram videos and maybe something on TikTok as well when Microsoft decides to buy that, but less about TikTok.
You're gonna take a leaf out of our mate's book and make a whole Instagram profile for your dog,
possibly.
Your mum's dog.
I mean, it's a long time coming with the cats, but I think I don't see the cats enough, so it makes me sad. So I think making an Instagram account for them wouldn't be the best idea for my mental health.
Has he got a name yet?
Marley, I think they're calling him. Yeah, Marley. So
it just brings back memories of that movie.
Yeah, he was crying a lot in the night, and so they brought him into bed with them. But I think it's hard to train a puppy out of that when they believe that's their bed. I know how puppies act essentially. So see how it goes. But I think the most concerning for me is how the two cats will put up with the dog essentially. And hi Scurvy, how you doing? So the other thing is, I don't know if you've watched on Netflix. I find it absolutely brilliant. It's The Haunting of Hill House.
Oh, right. No, I am a non-Netflix watcher, aficionado. Okay. I basically, the last TV series I was really invested in was Sherlock. Okay. And how long ago did that finish,
Yeah, true. I think, for just Haunting of Hill House on its own, it's just... If you mix elements of horror and character-driven story together, you get that show, and there's a reason that it's rated 8.7 on IMDb when I checked it. I still haven't finished it yet, but there's like so many twists and turns and so many things to unravel through. I think there's 9 episodes in season 1, and there's a season 2 coming out soon. So it's based on the 1950s novel. I can't remember the author's name. But the cast of characters, you either love them or hate them. But that's how character development usually works, very like multi-dimensional. So I'm on like episode 7 now, and yeah, I couldn't recommend it any more to anyone, if I'm honest.
Is it like a horror kind of anthology series?
Kind of, yeah.
Black Mirror-y.
So I wouldn't like.
Well, obviously not Black Mirror-y in terms of its content, but in terms of how it's kind of set, like different sort of tales.
No, not like American Horror Story in that sense.
That's what I meant.
It's one story based around one house, essentially.
All right.
Yeah,
nice.
I've been enjoying it, and I've been enjoying the character growth from them, and it's like not everything is what it seems. You think it's going to be like just a ghost haunting and stuff like that, but it's much greater than that, and it can have freaky scenes and things like that. But the jump scares are treated with a lot of respect as well. You know how a lot of horror movies, they tend to like milk jump scares for all they're worth, and
Well,
then
they
it's to the
overplay it to the nth degree
Yeah.
in some horror films I've seen. You know.
But a lot of stuff in this is very subtle as well when you see a ghost or something like that. So keep that in mind. And there's even like videos on YouTube of every ghost in every scene and stuff like that. So it's yeah,
Nice.
I quite like it.
That's how I like my horror films. I like them with atmosphere and a bit of pathos. You know, let the tension build and build.
Yeah,
You know, I don't like just jump scares for the sake of making you jump. I
Yeah.
think that's just a cheap kind of cop out. Yeah. So was that your interesting news of the week then?
yeah. If you want to call it interesting.
Mine. Before I get on to my interesting news, just a shout out to everyone who actually did watch the first episode on Twitch. One guy in particular from my OSW Discord, just a ball guy, who didn't know which one was English out of us two.
Bloody bastard.
You
How
see,
can you
you
not
should
tell
have.
half of bloody hell's sake, but
And I was like, he basically said to me, "Oh, so which one are you?" You know, and I go, "Well, I'm the," because he hasn't seen me in real life.
I'm
or heard me in
the
real
white
life.
one.
And well, I go, I'm the English one. And then there was a bit of a beat, and he went, "Fine, then keep your secrets."
Oh.
I was like, "Okay," you know.
Well, it's just
I suppose
goes
if you're
back
an
to
American, it's quite hard to differentiate between a Welsh and an American accent.
It
you
just-
know? A Welsh
yeah.
American, a Welsh and English accent.
It just goes back to the whole people thinking Wales is that in England, right?
Yeah, British guy. It's like the same Americans calling everyone in England British.
You British people and your bad teeth and your NHS, which does fix your bad teeth up until you're 18 for free.
Whereas we have to pay $1,000. Turned a bit Arnold Schwarzenegger there. I'm not sure what sort of accent that was. But anyway.
Can't beat xenophobia in our second episode. Lovely.
Yeah, but yes, thank you to everyone who did tune into our first episode. It's only going to go downhill from there, so I'm very sorry.
Sorry.
Anyway, my interesting news. It's not really news, neither is it particularly interesting. But I found out from my father that the best word to say in a Geordie accent is plantar fasciitis, which is a disease of the foot.
Plantar fasciitis.
Plantar fasciitis.
Oh.
Yeah. So there we go. Well on our way to offending Geordie people again. I'm just trying to.
I mean, they sound Welsh, so it's like
So
insulting me.
plantar fasciitis is an inflammation of the fibrous tissue along the bottom of your foot that connects your heel bone to your toes. And I don't know why that came up in conversation as probably the best word to say in a Geordie accent, but it got me thinking as to what other words in a Geordie accent are the most sort of effective.
Oh, me,
shall we
like,
say.
your foot is rotting off. That's almost
Wow,
Scottish.
I'm not sure. Sort of half Scottish, half pirate. Sort of.
I took a trip down to Cumbria.
Yeah, I didn't understand a word of that, but.
Sorry, mate.
So yeah, other than that, I really don't have anything interesting that's happened this week. It's been same old with being cooped up, dealing with working on music when I can, listening to as much good new music as I can.
Oh, such a hard life.
Yeah, I know. It's a hell of a thing.
Yeah.
This COVID-19 business.
Yeah. Well, I tried to check out New Music Friday on Spotify yesterday, and it just, I don't know. You get some weeks which have loads of stuff on it, and then some weeks which are just as painfully dry as you can make them. Although the Bill and Ted soundtrack came out, but more about that later.
So we do have some visitors on our Twitch, which is very nice.
So what's that?
what-
Bottle of water, spoken with a London accent. Bottle of water.
Bottle of water. You slag.
You slag.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, the thing is with water, that's another American thing that gets on my nerves, is the fact they don't pronounce their T's in water.
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 Have you? What's his name? Limmy or something like that. The Scottish guy who plays video games.
Oh, he's fantastic.
Water.
He's fantastic.
I said £1 for a bottle of water.
Yeah. He said one of the most profound things I ever heard, actually. I do follow Limmy on Twitch. He's a fascinating individual, very, very funny, very Scottish.
Fascinating specimen.
He said one of the most profound things I've ever heard, which was a guy said, "Thank you for cheering me up, Limmy. This is the worst year of my life." And he was like, "Good. If this is the worst year of your life, then the next year is going to be so much better." So I was like, that's a fair point, I guess. It can't get any worse than how it is now. But
No,
I don't like to count my chickens, but we shall see.
we shall see. I mean,
So anyway, shall we move on to news topics?
definitely. So what have we got
And
first, Robbie?
unfortunately, do you want me to take this, or do you want to take it?
Go ahead.
I'll take it. Yeah. Unfortunately, the biggest news from today, of course, is that Chadwick Boseman, who was the lead in Black Panther and a key integral figure in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, has passed away from colon cancer, which everyone was totally unaware that he was suffering from. Apparently, he had it since 2016, and he was just powering on through making the Black Panther movies and Infinity War and Endgame. And he was a fantastic actor, fantastic ambassador for Hollywood,
Still such a young age to go as well. So, I mean...
I think he was, what was he? He was 43. I mean, that's no age, really. And lots of tributes flooding around. Jordan Peele, Get Out director, said it was a crushing blow. He said he was a true fighter, persevered through it all, brought you many of the films you've come to love so much. And just a great ambassador for Hollywood's social issues and representative minorities in a time, I guess, where we need as much representation as possible, really.
Yeah, and in the sense as well, like that, the Black Panther, that's the main thing I've seen from Chadwick Boseman, and the film has revolutionized that part of Hollywood in so many ways, and just not from just like the sake of revolutionizing, but just from the overall direction of the film, and that sense of empowerment from the film as well, really showed it off well. So and what else it carried all the way through the rest of the Avengers films, and he's essentially the leading man for that. Like, I don't want to focus too much on the I'm
gonna lift a quote here from my good friend Dan, who I work with, who on Instagram, he said something on his Instagram story that I thought was really nice and profound, which was he said, "I never really saw people that looked like me as the heroes. Black people were always fun sidekicks or comedic characters, or worse, thugs, but never the hero. And though this never stopped me enjoying the films, it would take me years to realize how I was being taught by the world around me that we weren't really born for greatness." He just wants to say how special it was to see Black Panther, a hero who's black, portrayed with grace, power, and intelligence. And how special it is to know the kids who share the same skin as him have a hero to inspire them. So I think that's the most important thing about the Black Panther. I want to say franchise, but unfortunately we did only get one film out of it. But it was a pretty good film,
Yeah. Was there any more planned in the pipeline? Because I
don't know. I know they were planning more Marvel Cinematic Universe films, but I don't know if there was. Surely there would have been a sequel. It's one of the most successful films of all time, right? It grossed like billions of dollars in the box office.
Yeah,
accounting for inflation.
Yeah, Black Panther in particular. Yeah, it's ranked among one of the top MCU films up there. Even with like the Avengers films and things like that. Saying Black Panther...
it was just a watershed moment in cinema, really, wasn't it?
Yeah. So Scurvy in the chat saying Black Panther had a planned sequel in 2022. Current status unknown.
That's a real shame. You'd think, I don't know. It's a difficult decision, isn't it? Because at the end of the day, he was the lead role, and whether this is going to actually bloom into a franchise, even with his passing, you don't really know, do you?
Yeah, like I don't. The two options are essentially they replace the actor, or they
or they bring someone else up from the front, maybe like another character within the Black Panther franchise to take the mantle. I mean, obviously it's completely different circumstances, but obviously we have Natalie Portman becoming the new Thor. So,
but I can imagine, because if he was suffering from cancer from a while, I guess that was considered from ages ago anyway. So I imagine they do have some sort of plan for the upcoming Black Panther film, whatever it may be. It's just early days yet. Nobody really wants to think about
absolutely.
What
It's a
of
real
that
shame,
film is.
real sad loss for the acting community and the world of film. The other tragic loss we had this week, I hate to continue with the downer trend, but this one kind of hit close to me, seeing as I saw this band live in the flesh last year at Download, was the passing of Riley Gale, who was the frontman of Power Trip. And Power Trip, if you don't know, they were a great thrash / crossover band who singed about their lyrical content was about various social issues. He had a great vision for a better world. He passed away very suddenly at the age of 34, which again is even younger and just no age. I'm reading a Guardian article here about him, and it's he said he was a great idealist of thrash metal. He mixed philosophy, economics, and genuine empathy into a searingly potent vision for a better world. And actually, one of my favorite stories that I read after he passed away was he had a guy at Fox News called Greg Guttle or something like that, who used Power Trip's music during a Fox News broadcast, and he was obviously outraged, and he issued a cease and desist. But then he actually started having a conversation with him, and they found out that actually they got on really well, and it was a testament to the power of music, that the fact that two completely separate sides of the political spectrum met together and managed to find common ground in music. So.
And it's always
a
about
testament
that.
Testament to how it was. Sorry, Karen.
No, I was gonna say, like, that's always my philosophy as well. Is instead of continuing to battle at wits back and forth, just sit down, take a step back, and then come back in and talk about whatever compromises there are and things like that. So I always think that's important in civilized conversation and decisions in that sense, and it sparks less outrage and stuff like that. So I think there needs to be more of that in the world, if I'm honest.
Defo. I mean, he was a very progressive thinking individual, Riley.
Yeah.
And just the fact that he managed to get on well with a guy from Fox News, who are obviously at the complete other side of the political spectrum.
Yeah.
It's testament to how he probably was as a person. I mean, obviously I never knew the guy personally, but last year at Download, I saw them performing on stage, and I think it was I was just coming out one of the Portaloos. Hate to bring the mood down slightly with saying that, and this guttural, visceral roar that I heard, and I was just like, "Whoa!" Because they were definitely a band that I kept my eye on the lead up to Download, just because of their raw, the viscosity of their music. It's very sort of.
It's very it's like that organic thrash metal sound.
Absolutely.
There was a band last year called Red Death that I listened to that released an album, and like it does sound like that sort of stuff as well. But Power Trip, they're very much in sort of the revolution for that kind of sound. They're like the leading band in that, if I may say so. And for you, in your case, they're very much an eardrum magnet.
Yeah, I genuinely think Power Trip were going to take on the world. I feel like they had that ethos. They'd already supported Trivium live on a number of dates. So I think they were going to be well up there. I mean, whether they're going to continue with a new singer again remains up for debate, really. But well worth checking out. Great band. 2 albums. Nightmare Logic being their most recent, I believe.
Yeah.
It just seemed like a very nice, down-to-earth sort of guy. really. So
Yeah, definitely. And by the way, Scurvy, I do agree. Alien Weaponry are brilliant.
Alien Weaponry are awesome. Yeah, again, just that visceral thrash sound. And that that's just going back to the Power Trip as well. Just all these brilliant new bands that are coming out of the woodwork in the past few years that up until say last year before I'd never even heard of.
Yeah,
Both Power Trip and Alien Weaponry were both absolute highlights for me at Download last year.
Yeah, well, if I want to give a song recommendation for next week, I'd get you to listen to any song by Lost Society, because that's kind of a similar-ish kind of sound as well.
Interesting. Lost Society.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get on that later, but yeah, on to more lighter news. We have the Slam Dunk lineup that has just been released recently.
Ooh, goody.
And it's more or less the same as, obviously, Slam Dunk this year has been cancelled because of the ongoing global pandemic. But the good news is that Slam Dunk has retained a fair few bands from last year.
Yeah. So from what I remember, they were going to postpone until September, but as we know, lockdown it is somewhat still in effect, especially for mass gatherings such as Slam Dunk. So it's not really the right time to be putting Slam Dunk back on. But as a result of that anyway, there was bands like Bury Tomorrow that were pulling out because they had something else on their schedule. So they reserved the May spot specifically.
Oh, are they not in the lineup next year?
No, they are in the lineup. But what I'm saying is they went when they tried to postpone to September. That's when they couldn't be part of Slam Dunk. So from what I'm seeing. Still keeping up with Sum 41 and Don Broco as the lineups, the headliners, which I think like both bands are. Well, what more can be said about Sum 41 for one? And Don Broco have grown on me quite a bit in the last few years. I just think they're very catchy. Not as catchy as Eskimo Callboy, but still pretty catchy.
We'll get onto that at some point for sure. Yeah, yeah. Don Broco, local lads of mine. They're originally from Bedford. Never quite gelled with me. I've got to be honest. I like their first album, Priorities, but after that, it was kind of not my cup of tea. Really, they were going to play at my local venue. Shout out to Bedford Esquires, who've treated me very well over the years with open mics. They were going to play at the reopening of Bedford Esquires back in November this year, but I can't foresee that happening, unfortunately, just because of social distancing regulation. But it's good that they always have callbacks to Bedford, so it's good that they've held a kind of firm ground to their roots. Over these years, despite how massive they are now,
Yeah, and even Slam Dunk is growing because, like you've got Billy Talent is in the lineup as well.
I love Billy Talent. Have you
listened to their new album yet?
Or has their new album actually come out? Because I've heard the singles.
Oh yeah, it's just a single.
I've heard the singles. The first single it had a very weird Pink Floyd kind of. It was kind of progressive rock,
I do like it. Yeah.
I mean, their last album, Afraid of Heights, was just pure garage rock sort of sounding, which I really liked. They've just got something about them that I love. They've got like a unique. The lead singer Ben. I can't remember his name for the life of me.
I thought his name was Billy Talent.
No, the guy who fronts it isn't actually called Billy Talent. Let me bear with me a second. It's Ben something.
Ben Shapiro.
Benjamin Kowalowitz. Oh. Yeah, he's got a very unique voice, very hot, very interesting highs in his sound, which can be off-putting to a lot of people, and it was definitely a hurdle that I had to get over whilst listening to them. But I think they're just very the guitarist Ian Dessart is a fantastic guitar player.
I think one of my favorite songs by them, I think it's called. Well, how can I say I think it's called if it's one of my favorite songs? But Cure for the Enemy. Cure for the Enemy.
I think it's called this. Yeah. What was it called? Sorry.
Cure for the Enemy is one of my favorite songs by them.
Cure for the Enemy.
And that's when he goes like really high in that song. So that's why I wanted to point it out. But I don't think they've ever made a bad album. If I'm honest, Billy Talent. They're just
no,
so.
I don't either. I think people had some qualms about Billy Talent 3, but then again, it's got Rusted in the Rain on it, which is one of my favorite Billy Talent tunes.
Yeah.
Let's move on to who else is on there?
While She
Real Big
Sleeps.
Fish. Real Big Fish are always a great laugh.
Oh yeah, I love them.
We saw them at Download this year
Mhm.
with our buddy Dan, who's massively into Real Big Fish and ska in general.
Mhm.
And they're just one of those bands that allows you to have a great time when you're watching them,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
And certainly my mood was brightened by watching them, because on that day was, well, in the few days leading up to it, we were at that Download since the Wednesday, and the weather was just so appalling, and the conditions and the walking distance between campsite and arena were just all over the place.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. While She
But
Sleeps.
they're another great band, and they just, if you like your ska punk, they are the quintessential ska punk band.
Mhm. And I don't think they've missed a beat since their early days. Like their latest album, "Life Sucks, So Let's Dance," has got some really catchy tunes on it still. So, and it's the ones that,
Check out KB's download vlog from last year if you want to see our reaction to Real Big Fish.
yeah, all the best reactions in there. Then you got While She Sleeps. I just saw.
Did we see them last year at Download, or was
No.
that Memphis May Fire? Because I always get those two mixed up.
It was neither of them, wasn't it? It was Miss May I remember.
Miss May and that I get those three mixed up. Miss May I, Memphis May Fire, and While She Sleeps. I don't know why I get, because it's all similar kind of metalcore leaning music, and it's sort of free named bands.
Yeah.
So
I think I saw While She Sleeps when I was in Budapest last year. Thank you, Scurvy. I appreciate it.
Is that when you saw Architects?
Yeah, so I saw Architects at Budapest Park. Possibly my favorite venue I've ever been to, Budapest Park. It's got a very good size. It's like, I think it's up to like 10 or 12,000 you can fit in there, and then it's really easy to get to the bar. You know, €2 for a pint. What more could you ask for? And it's like the flooring isn't too. It's like wooden panels and things like that.
I'm well aware of Budapest prices. Budapest, I went there on my cousin's stag do a few years ago. It's epic, you know.
It's amazing. It's like,
brilliant
I haven't
city.
been to that many cities, but I can imagine right now that it will be like one of the best cities I've been to.
And I guess it's a good time actually to segue into the fact that Ferencváros beat Celtic in the Champions League qualifiers. Ferencváros, a team from Budapest, who I went to one game whilst I was over there, and it was the worst game of football I've ever seen in my life. It was 0-0. There was hardly any crowd in, because at the time they were protesting about entrance, what they had to do to get entered into the ground, which was they had to have their palms, their veins scanned in order to become a season ticket holder, which...
I don't know what was worse, to be honest. That game, or like a lot of people will say Barcelona versus Bayern, but for me, just RB Leipzig versus PSG, which was just it was so abysmal for in terms of like PSG taking ages to get a goal in, and just from Neymar missing absolutely everything off the back of it, and they managed to pull it off like afterwards, but I think that it just carried over to the final, and then that was it. They had good defense.
Yeah, I seem to get we did both predict Bayern, didn't we?
Yeah.
To win, hopefully. We haven't watched the episode 1 since we recorded it, but yeah, I'm glad Bayern won it. I think they deserve it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I just don't like Neymar.
Yeah, I don't think many people do. I think he's probably got a concussion from all the bottles that's been thrown at him.
Speaking of bottles being thrown at you, let's go back to some of the more interesting choices for Slam Dunk.
Okay.
So we have Ice Nine Kills.
Ice Nine Kills.
Do you know anything about them?
Yeah. Like most of their music is mainly based on different horror movies and things like that, like Jason and all that kind of stuff. And I think each album will be based on a kind of a different theme of supernatural sort of stuff. But I know mainly about the Silver Screen album, Silver Scream, like Stabbing in the Dark, which I think is a Michael Myers song, I believe. It's a song based on Michael Myers. They got a song called Merry Xmas, which is like a killer Santa Claus. It's about that, but it's as the lead singer, he's one of my favorites vocalists in metal right now, because he can just do he's got insane cleans, and then he's just got this like kind of mountain lion-esque roar to his screams, which and you know he can do really good lows and things like that. So yeah,
I must admit, I've yet to check out Ice Nine Kills.
yeah, they're really, really good. And
They're really, really good.
I'm gonna be honest, I'm stalling a bit because I accidentally closed down the tab that I was reading it off.
Don't worry, I've got the Slam Dunk tab open.
Oh, okay,
so I can continue.
Okay.
You know what we should have done, actually, just as a note for next week's podcast, is we should have had the Slam Dunk news last, because I was going to segue from this next band into the song choice that I've got for you for Listen to This segment, which is Wargasm,
Oh yes.
who are both playing at Slam Dunk and Download this year.
Hmm.
And they're a relatively new act. I'll get into them later, but have you heard much about them?
What are they called? Sorry.
Wargasm.
Oh, Wargasm. Yeah, I saw the I saw their Download TV thing, and may I just say right now that in just as a little kind of off the cuff news, have you seen Reading that are doing a full 3-day virtual lineup? Like every band there is almost every band there is doing a virtual lineup, and Download only could do things from like 7 p.m. onwards with just the highlights and things like that.
I could be wrong, but I think they've already had their first day.
Have they? Oh, is it? Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
I don't know,
isn't it?
But I've seen it. I've seen the lineup of Reading, and just not my cup of tea.
Yeah, like I just think it's important in that sort of thing. I can see Blood Youth are on there as well. I do like Blood Youth. Anyone in particular that you do like?
For Reading or Slam Dunk?
Slam Dunk.
Oh, Slam Dunk. I'm sorry. We're going back between festivals. It's hard. So who we got? Basement. I absolutely love Basement.
Yeah,
they're one of my favourite UK bands at the moment, like new UK bands. I say new. I mean, they've been around for quite a while, at least a decade, I would say. But they are a phenomenal band. If you like that Teenage Wrist tune that I played you last week, you will love Basement.
Yeah,
they've got a very sort of ambient alternative rock quality, very 90s sounding.
Mm.
Who else we got? D's Nuts. Have you heard of D's Nuts?
Have you heard of These Nuts?
Yeah, they are a real band. They're an Australian rapcore act. So basically, kind of Limp Bizkit, but more hardcore, I guess.
Mm.
They're okay. I got introduced to them a few years ago when I was in Bedford. Code Orange. Now I've yet to check out. Oh
yes, Code Orange. Sorry, I've yet
to check out very much about Code Orange. What are your thoughts on Code Orange, Gabriel?
I didn't listen to them much before their latest album, but I am really inclined now to listen to more of their stuff, because I think Underneath is one of the highlights of this year from any album. Just from starting off from Swallowing the Rabbit Hole, and what I love from them is how they make a lot of their sounds quite glitchy in the guitars, like especially in Swallowing the Rabbit Hole, where it's just like it does this whole sort of, I think, just the pre-chorus, and then it goes. It just stops for a second and then just skips like a few seconds onwards, and that's totally intentional. But I thought it's weird, but I like it.
I know they've done an unplugged set where they did a few Alice in Chains songs, so that immediately they've won me over, because Alice in Chains is one of the greatest bands of all time, as far as I'm concerned. Code Orange. Industrial metalcore, is that a good way to describe their sound?
I think that's pretty fair. There a lot of industrial influences in there. Maybe not full on like Fear Factory or something like that.
I love Fear Factory, so if they're anything like Fear Factory, I'm sold. But
like Fear Factory, as you know, they're a band that just never take their foot off the pedal. But
it's a real shame what's happening to them at the moment, because they I don't think they can tour or release any new music until they can get the rights over the name sorted out.
Yeah, I know.
Which is really sad, because I would love to see Fear Factory live. Yeah. One of my favourite metal bands.
Yeah, I've got for the record, I managed to get the poster back up. It's the page just like glitched out on me all of a sudden. Like the poster was showing in the background, but
oh, okay, right. So let's just whiz through a few more, and then we'll go on to the big football news that's currently happening at the moment.
Yeah.
So Knuckle Puck is another band I absolutely adore at the moment. I only really got into them earlier this year, but again, sort of very 90s punk sound with like an ambient atmospheric quality. I'm a sucker for shoegaze or emo gaze, as we coined Teenage Wrist last week, and they very much kind of fall into that category. Maybe a bit more pop punk, but yeah. Again, there's Zebrahead, who we did see at Download last year.
Yes. That's all I say. I just think
I just have a vision of you sing from the vlog of you singing "Everything's Falling Apart."
everything's falling apart. Yeah. No, I think their latest album was pretty good as well. I think was it Aliens Taking Over? I can't remember the name of the album, but yeah, they've got so much in their catalog. So I don't think you'll ever get bored of Zebrahead. Out of all the punk rock bands that are out there, I think I can call them punk rock.
Yeah, they've got a kind of rap. Again, they've got a kind of rap core thing about them.
Definitely.
As well. They've got kind of rappy vocals over pop punk. But yeah, just rush through all of these. Straight from the Path. Yeah.
Not my fit. Nah, I don't like.
Not your cup of tea.
Nah.
Vukovi, The
Never
Fame, Blood Youth, Popes of Chili Town, another great ska band. Dream State, I quite like Dream State.
They're okay.
I wasn't a fan of their last album, but the EPs that they did before were glorious. Again, very atmospheric kind of. As you'll probably learn as we go into more and more episodes of this podcast, I'm a sucker for atmospheric kind of metal / rock. You know.
Yeah, me too. I think it depends what mood I'm in, really. Like I could either listen to some intense, like at the moment, Bury Tomorrow, or I could just sit back and listen to Tool.
Very nice. There's lots of pop punk bands. 4 Year Strong, Story So Far,
Dance Gavin Dance, which is more
Dance Gavin Dance,
post-hardcore sort of stuff. But
Chunk No, Captain Chunk, Me First and the Gimme Get. All these bands. Since being in I guess you could call it a pop punk band. I mean, a Green Day tribute band with. I mean, the other guys in my band all love this kind of style of music, and they go to Slam Dunk almost every year. I mean, beforehand, I probably wouldn't have given Slam Dunk much of a thought because I had a stigma attached to pop punk. Not that sort of stigma, by the way, before you go there. But it was just always the same bands that were being played on Kerrang over and over again, like Yumi at 6 and what's the other one? All Time Low and all these bands that really put me off pop punk.
I don't mind Yumi at 6. Like they're not something I'd first think about listening to. Yumi at 6, but All Time Low, no, just get them away from me.
Get in the bin, All Time Low. I'm sorry.
They were like the teenage girl's dream.
Not my thing. Just that kind of very kiddie, cheesy side of pop punk, which I just can't stand. My sort of pop punk falls under the kind of emo category, I guess. So, 4 Year Strong. 4 Year Strong's album, by the way, this year, that is definitely up there as one of my albums of the year.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard it yet. It's called Brain Pain, I think it's called.
No, I'm not sure. I saw one called Normandy on you, and I thought that was North Lane, so I'm immensely disappointed by that. I would love to see North Lane live. But yeah, that's me with it. I mean, I'm surprised Mayday Parade still exists. And besides from that, yeah. The Used, I wonder how much hate they're going to get, because I remember they were one of the first to pull out, weren't they? And people really did not like them after that. The Used, yeah. You see them next?
I don't know. I've got to be honest. I really don't know that much about The Used. In fact, it probably shows my age when the only thing I really know about The Used is that their lead singer, Burt McCracken is his name, used to go out with Kelly Osbourne from the Osbournes.
Yeah.
And I think he was in a few episodes of the Osbournes.
Was he?
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
I love binge watching the Osbournes. It's just Ozzy is such a character. But yeah, the Used, I don't know. Do they fall into the kind of my camp of like emo?
I'd say so. Like more, like My Chem, I think, are a bit more technical, but the Used are a bit more. Well, I wouldn't say catchy, because My Chemical Romance are like probably the catchiest you can find out of like that sort of area of music. you only have to play the first 3 piano notes, or the first 4 piano notes from Black Parade, and people instantly know what that is, and they'll sing along.
That's a meme, though, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
or a video on TikTok, someone just goes, da, 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 ah! We have Scurvy in the chat saying, if you can make a suggestion for some good screams, Alex Terrible from Slaughter to Prevail.
Yeah,
I've heard Slaughter to Prevail. He literally sounds like Satan when he screams. It's not even an exaggeration. He sounds like he's conjuring up the screams. His diaphragm is somehow in Lucifer's throne room when he screams. It's a ridiculous. He's a ridiculous vocalist. But yeah, in general, deathcore, not really my cup of tea. If I'm being honest, you quite like deathcore though, don't you, Kieran?
It depends what deathcore. I'm on a bit of the cusp with like bands like Chelsea Grin. Like they've got some catchy tunes, but I think when it's just the chugging riffs and it's a lot of it, then I'm like, meh. But if it's something like Thy Art Is Murder or Fit for an Autopsy, then I'm like, like what else have I listened to? I think Lorna Shore, their album that came out this year, was very good, and that's more deathcore with an influence of black metal, which like that's to you that's like, oh, help me now. I can imagine.
No, I don't. I can't really listen to that. I can go heavy metalcore, but that's about as heavy as it gets for me.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean,
like Wage War or something like that.
Yeah,
that's about as heavy as it gets for me, I would say.
Another deathcore band that I've listened to, but I don't think many people talk about, is one called Boris the Blade. They're good, but then you've got like the death metal bands.
Is that a Snatch reference? Just out of interest.
I don't know.
Have you seen the film Snatch?
No.
Guy Ritchie?
No, I haven't.
There's a character in it called Boris the Blade.
We are both a man of culture as well, with a Total Biscuit emoji.
Yeah, thanks, Scurvy. Yeah, apparently we're men of culture. I think your opinion will soon change, Scurvy, as this podcast goes on.
Be right back. Just listening to Pink.
We'll take that for now, so thank you.
Yeah.
Well, let's just wrap this up. So Slam Dunk, whole host of great bands playing.
Yeah.
Metal bands, pop punk bands, alternative bands, ska bands, a lot. Going to take place on the 30th of May, 2021.
So no rain.
Fingers crossed.
No rain.
Yeah, no rain, no social distancing, please. And it's quite near where I live as well, in Hatfield.
Yeah, so I think that's the one I'm going to.
Nice little short train ride away. I'm probably going to go to it, to be fair.
Cool.
Right, football news. And obviously, the massive news that's coming out of football is that Lionel Messi wants to leave Barcelona. Your thoughts, please,
what can I say that hasn't been said already? Besides from Lionel Messi is arguably the greatest footballer of all time. You could put that next to
certainly
players,
of the modern age.
Players like
I don't
Pele
think anyone comes close, really, apart from Ronaldo, maybe.
Yeah, like Pele, Maradona, all those kinds of players. But I mean, based on Barcelona's form in the last few years, just scraping the barrel when it comes to what they should be at the level of. And
scraping the barrels of signings as well over the past few years.
And like I think. They signed Griezmann, and it seemed like he was underperforming. But yeah, I can imagine Messi must just feel like he's carrying the team a lot, especially with the defense as well. Because I think the defense is really, like you could see in the Bayern Munich game, the defense was one of the biggest things that let the team down. It's not just that, but the news is that Ronald Koeman wants to get rid of like Luis Suarez, Ivan Rakitic, Arturo Vidal, I think was another one.
To be fair, all of those players are quite old.
Yeah.
They're at least in their mid-30s, I want to say.
Yeah. I think only get rid of, like, I don't think just base age on it. I think base, if you see a player starting to slow down, by all means. But I think Luis Suarez has still got a fair bit left in the tank. Ideally, Messi still has got a lot in the tank as well. Like, he's still regarded as like the best footballer in the modern age, despite his age.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
I think Tottenham have been linked with Ivan Rakitic. So I don't know if he'd be able to fit on the team. I think we got plenty of midfielders anyway, so I'm not gonna. I wouldn't be bothered if we didn't sign him. He's a great player by all means, but like yeah, I wouldn't be bothered. We got Lo Celso, we've got Dele Alli's brother, we've got Højbjerg, who we just signed, and those sorts of players. So I'm happy. Just make Dombele a bit better, and yeah, we're good to go. What about you?
He's 32, Rakitic, so he's not that over the hill. But
No.
I mean, I'd take him. I'd take any of Barcelona's rejects. I mean, let's face it, we're already buying Chelsea rejects. I think we should probably aim higher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, I guess for the Messi situation, honestly, my feeling is it's just an empty threat to force the higher ups to act at Barcelona. I think Messi has a lot more power over Barcelona than people realize. Like he's basically a what's the word? It escapes me now. He's
a Kepper.
He's like a statue. He's an institution. That's the word. He's like an institution of Barcelona.
I thought you would have said ambassador.
Well, ambassador's a good word, but I think institution. He's been there for so long, and he's just dedicated so much of his life to being he loves Barcelona, right? I just cannot see him going to the Premier League.
Like the biggest speculation.
If the rumors are true that Man City are going to sign him, then I'm going to be very sad about that. That's just going to render a lot of the Premier League fixtures next year obsolete because we just will not be able to compete.
I don't know, because that's the question. How better would Man City be with Messi? Because I don't know. Most likely, if he went to Man City, probably take David Silva's position, because that's now vacant essentially. Because they've still Messi and Kevin De Bruyne side by side. That is going to be absolute that's just hell.
That and Sterling up front. That's just like
Sterling
and
when
Aguero.
He's not...
They would literally, they'd be unplayable.
Yeah,
really, wouldn't they?
You'd have to find ways to exploit them, like especially in the defense. But
in all honesty, I don't think he's gonna leave Barcelona.
No.
I think it's honestly just an empty threat to make the board and the people, Ronald Koeman and people like that, to act and maybe dip their hand into their pocket and get some good transfers in.
Yeah,
but they are in debts of about 700 million, Barcelona. So it's going to be, they probably need the money. Like, if they sell Messi, it will probably be for a figure as high as that, just to clear their debts.
Do you think Chelsea are going to be in a similar situation with debt? Because, like, look at the transfers they've made so far. Like, spending...
they've done some great business. Timo Werner and...
Yeah, but they haven't, like, once said, oh, yeah, we'll try and lower it or whatever. They've just...
Whereas we're picking the scraps of the Chelsea midfield.
We're just poaching other clubs, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, it's difficult, really. We're supposedly going to sign this Gabriel fella from Lille, and Aubameyang is going to sign a new contract. But again, we haven't heard anything from either camp yet.
I think,
and I just can't see who else we're going to get in. Really, we've got the Community Shield today, I think, or tomorrow, against Liverpool.
Yeah,
I'm not really confident. So the truth.
I don't blame you, because I mean, although if it was anything like Liverpool up against who were they up against recently, and they drew 2-2, didn't they? I don't think Liverpool should, like, they were insane last season. Nobody can argue that, but there will come a time where a lot of the other players, a lot of the other teams will catch up to them, because they'll be refreshing their squad. And Liverpool, either this season or the next, they do need to, like, kind of keep things fresh, and kind of like pick up the pace a little bit in terms of that, because some players will be obsolete. I think they've just offloaded Lovren, haven't they? So
yeah, that was a while back. I think he was very much over the hill.
Yeah,
in the eyes of Liverpool fans.
Yeah.
It's going to be an interesting season, whatever way you make of it. Because there's I mean, obviously, considering the strange circumstances the world it finds itself in, there's obviously talk of season ticket prices and whether people will still have to pay to watch games,
Mm.
pay, seating stadium prices to watch games and things like that, which it doesn't bear thinking about, really.
Yeah, is it going to be a lot of price hiking for one? Or are you going to team out to help out or something like that? I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, speaking of football, anyway, I have actually set up a fantasy league team.
Okay, me too.
On fantasy.premierleague.com.
Me too.
And it's been a kind of ritual for me over the past few seasons. I was never really into fantasy football that much, but it just became something to focus on every week, pass the time, maybe have a look at the players that are performing for other teams.
Me too.
Me too. So KB, let's go through your team first. What is the name of your team?
So my name is Bottle FC because we're a bunch of
quite
bottle
apt
jobs
for a Tottenham supporter, I would say.
Yep, exactly. That is what it's based off, as well as my FIFA Ultimate Team name. What about yours?
So mine is called Hangover 96 Rob Nil.
Hangover, as in like drinking hangover. Nice.
Yeah,
like
as in Hanover 96, team from Germany.
What are the cleverest fancy names you've heard?
Oh, there's so many. I think Netflix and Chilwell is a good one.
the dirtiest one I've heard is She Licked My Teep.
Oh. No need for that. Jesus.
No.
Finding Timo. That's a good
Finding
one.
Timo. I like that.
I'm just going through some list of some of the leagues that I'm a part of. There's got to be some metal ones in here. What have we got here? The Wizard of Urzel.
But he's not a wizard. He's more.
He's not so much. Not in my eyes. He's
more
not,
like
definitely.
Lancelot.
Obi-Wan Iwobi. I like that. Hello there.
A Kiss from a Danny Rose.
Brilliant.
Silver Lining.
Oh, I like this one. FC Sound Attack. Clutch reference. Very nice.
Nice. When Harry Met Ali is one of my favourites.
Kill Switch and Gog.
Kill Switch and Gog.
Kill Switch and Go, I guess is how you pronounce it. David on Go. Do you remember him?
Oh yeah, Hanging by a Thread. That's unique to his Fred in himself. Anyway, what would Manu think in buying him for that much? I have no idea, but that's
Trapped Under Rice. I like that.
Ah, yes, that's good.
Enter Shaqiri. I mean, that's quite obvious.
Yeah, Enter Shaqiri. What have we got? Well, I've just said Kiss from a Danny Rose. K Hills Have Eyes. Turn the other Loftus Cheek.
We could go on and on and on. That's the whole thing about fantasy football is you got to come up with a good pun name.
No Cane, No Gain.
No Cane, no Gain. Gilfy Pleasures.
Me, My Delphin.
Oh, shall we just dedicate the whole rest of this episode to just coming up with fantasy team puns?
Yeah. Obi-Wan and Iwobi.
Yeah. I already said that one.
Cool. Oh, have you? Oh.
Yeah. That's why I said hello there.
Alder Smarlings.
Deanie in a bottle.
Oh man.
I mean, he's just been relegated, so ha. Yeah. So if you do want to join our fantasy league, you can do. I'm stalling because I need to find the link. Let's see. The code to join this league. This is on fantasy.premierleague.com. The code to join this fantasy league is SZ38MV, all lowercase.
Okay.
We'll probably put a link to that in the YouTube video once we get this up. So my team, basically. Do you want to go through your team first?
Yeah,
Kieran?
but before I do, I'll put that link in the Discord. So for people who are fans of football and want to join along, follow my Discord, and yeah, I'll be happy to put that in there. I've just created a sports thread now anyway, to talk about anything, just sports really. But with that said, so my goalkeeper, and keep in mind when it comes to these Premier teams, you're based on a budget, so sometimes you'll have to play it cleverly.
Cleverly, yeah, there we go.
So some players will be outstanding, and other players maybe like they just scrape the surface, maybe. But my goalkeeper is Alisson. You know, I imagine Liverpool this season are going to keep a clean sheet, so you know, a good clean sheet. Don't know, like there's not much difference in the goalkeeper prices, so I wouldn't have gone with Henderson because
goalkeepers are a funny one, right? If you're going to play fantasy league, you need a goalkeeper that's around 4 or 4.5 rather than 6, because you're not guaranteed clean sheets. You know, same with the defenders. So I've gone quite cheap for my defenders / goalkeeper selection.
But I think does it base them off some goals they score as well, or like
how
many tackles they win?
Stats like clean sheets, goals scored, goals conceded.
Yeah,
you know, you get minus points if you concede goals.
So
or get yellow cards or red cards.
Yeah, true. Who have you gone as your goalkeeper?
Well, I've got Martinez from Arsenal.
Good choice,
who I think really is on the verge of being a world-class keeper now. Considering he's been at the club since about 2011, and he's never really got a chance to shine.
Do you think?
But since lockdown resumed and Leno got injured, he's been unbelievable. Although I feel like I might regret choosing Martinez because there are rumours that he's actually going to go in the summer because he's not guaranteed first-team football, is what Arteta said. So fingers crossed that won't happen because I really do want to keep him. He's who I've gone with in goal anyway.
The good thing about this this fantasy football league is that it's you get to do changes each week, I believe. So if a player gets injured or something like that, you have the chance to swap them out. So that's not too bad. And you got people on the bench as well that you can put in. So anyway,
so your defense. Let's go through your whole defense just so we don't dawdle on one.
Yeah.
Each player individually.
I'll just do like a little statement for each player. So for the first defender, I've got Van Dijk. Who else?
I also have Van Dijk.
Yeah, Van Dijk is just a no-brainer, and he's the best defender Liverpool has. For the second one, I've got Marcos Alonso, because Marcos Alonso not only is a good defender, but he's also good at attacking up the pitch as well.
He's good at scoring goals, but he can be a bit of a liability, I think.
Yeah, so it mainly depends really, but I kind of wanted to pick him over Azpilicueta for that reason. Then I've gone for Nathan Ake. This is a bit of a risky one because he's only just joined Man City, but based on his performance for Bournemouth and the sort of coaching he can get from Man City's defenders and stuff like that.
That's an interesting shout, Nathan Ake. Do you think he'll even play?
Actually, now that you've mentioned it, possibly. I mean, who have Man City got? They've got Laporte, who they're definitely going to keep on the first.
John Stones
and John. Yeah, okay, he's going to play. I think John Stones would
shout out to John Stones, who is my cousin's cousin.
Oh, that's some useful information.
So I always have a soft spot for how well he's doing.
Yeah.
So I've gone for
I've got one more
as well.
Oh yeah, I've got one more as well because I've got 4 defenders. So my last one is Rudiger.
Ah, yes, nice. Chelsea. So I've gone for Van Dijk, Soyuncu from Leicester, who I think is good player, good stats. I basically pick all my players based on stats. I don't really know about how well they play and things like that, but I think he had good stats for last season, so I've gone with him. Cody from Wolves. I believe he's a right back. I could be wrong.
But Wolves, they did have a good clean sheet last season, so and especially
they're a great team, Wolves.
Yeah, Shane they'll probably be missing Doherty. Sorry guys, but it's got to be done.
Yeah. See, it's Connor Cody, and he was at Liverpool for a while.
Okay. People just
he's Wolves club captain as well, so he's going to start probably every game as well. So there's my logic right there.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing how people buy Liverpool's like reserve players and then they just turn into absolute beasts in other teams, like Danny Ings, for example?
Yeah, I know Danny Ings. I have him up front, incidentally. But yeah, to round off my defence, Lewis Dunk
Good choice. Yeah.
from Brighton, who I think is he's decent return for a Brighton defender who, they were on the verge of relegation, yet he was still bringing me in the points. And finally, Eric Peters from Burnley, who had a decent assist and clean sheet record last season, so he rounds it off. But he was very cheap as well.
Yeah.
So
for where
that's what
Burnley
I've gone
ended
for.
up, they did keep a relatively good clean sheet when it came to like the lesser teams in the Premier League. So, yeah, not too bad.
So midfield, who have you got in midfield?
Right. So I started with Yuri Tielemans from Leicester. I think he's got a lot of potential, and I think he can do some wonders this season. Then I've got the mighty Bruno Fernandes. I think he's been a saving grace for Man United this season, last season, I should say. Then I've got one that is another risky one because I don't know, like he's won a lot of tackles last season, but we'll see how he fares. And that's Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. He's relatively cheap, so he was a good option to go with to exceed his potential. And then I've gone with Jorginho.
Oh, that's an interesting midfield, mate. It's interesting how some of these players are labelled as midfielders, though.
Yeah, like Son is labelled as a midfielder.
I wouldn't consider Fernandes a midfielder. I think he's a forward, isn't he?
I think he's a cam.
Oh right, so he plays in the hole. Okay.
Yeah.
So I have our new Chelsea reject wonder, Willian.
Oh.
Because I do think he'll start where Ozil is meant to be starting.
Mm-hmm.
In more or less the same position.
Which Ozil play? Is he in the centre or is he?
I don't really know. Really, I think he's a fantastic player, though, as old as he might be. He's going to be main provider for my other midfield choice. I have no idea why he's in midfield because he's an out-and-out striker. But Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, just the obvious choice.
Brilliant, yeah.
For me,
I think he's just going to be. Yeah, like he in terms of Arsenal, he's the one that scores the majority of the goals.
He is by far our best player.
Yeah.
No questions asked. It's not even close. And I hope we can hang on to him for this next season. Traore from Wolves. I've gone very Wolves heavy actually in this team.
Yeah.
But I think they're a fantastic side, with a great manager.
And Traore he's just a beast down that.
He is a beast. He was a standout for me last season.
Those legs, man. Those bloody legs.
And Moutinho from Wolves.
2 in the midfield. Okay.
Again, another Wolves player. Great Wolves player. Got 7 assists last season, which is not a bad return. And Charlie Barnes from Leicester.
Okay. Yeah.
Again, another with potential. But you see what I've done? I've kind of tried to space it out kind of evenly. So there's not really that many superstars.
Yeah.
In my team.
Like I've gone on stats, but I've also kind of left a bit of room because stats can change so easily in football compared to other sports. Like you could have a player like score a hat trick in one game and then just underperform in the next. Just look at Dele Alli for example.
Definitely. So your forward line,
right? So
who have you got up front?
Who else but Harry Kane?
Of course.
Like if he doesn't get injured this season, I think he's just going to score an absolute cluster of goals.
As much as it hurts me to pick a Spurs player, because generally my rule has always been in the last 3 seasons, absolutely no Spurs players under any circumstances. I had to go with Harry Kane this season.
I mean, he plays for your national team anyway, so I guess he can get some love on that front. Unless you,
I'll probably bring Son in as well, depending on which one of them gets on the right foot. But Harry Kane's always struggled in the first couple of fixtures of the season. He takes a while to get going,
what I've seen from Spurs as of late is Harry Kane has had to step back a bit because there's not enough to cover. There hasn't been enough to cover the midfield, so that's why you see the stats where Harry Kane is like, oh, he's not up front enough. Now he's heading back because Spurs as a side, because they haven't got enough pressing. Especially in the last quarter of things, he's had to step back in the pitch. But I think now we've got plenty of people to cover the defense now, so we can have more people pressing up. So I think Kane, that would benefit Kane massively in that sense. So I think he'd be good. And the second striker I've got is Anthony Martial.
Interesting.
I think Martial, shined at the end of last season, and if he continues as a striker, then I think he's going to get a lot of chances to score and win the ball a lot and things like that.
He's a good player, low key. He's a good player. You won't have a massive goals return from him, but I think he is a decent centre forward.
Yeah, it was like mainly based on budget. He was what I could afford in that high bracket.
Of course. And who are your other ones then?
Who did you go with your second striker?
Oh yeah, sorry. I went with Danny Ings, the aforementioned Danny Ings, because I just think his goal return, considering where he was at Liverpool and where he is now, is ridiculous. He got 22 goals last season.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Remarkable return, really.
Mm-hmm.
Considering Southampton, they didn't have the greatest of seasons. I mean, they lost 9-0 to Leicester.
Mm. Yeah, that was.
But he was the shining light in that Southampton team, so I've gone for him. Neil Maupay from Brighton.
You've got him on the bench, have you?
No, I'm playing a front three. I've gone for a 3-4-3 formation.
Yeah, I just thought I kept it the same as a standard 4-4-2 because a lot of the midfield players should be striker players, but they're not.
Yeah, exactly. Then again, I've got 4 strikers actually, if you include Aubameyang. But Neil Maupay again, relatively cheap for a striker. Had a good debut season.
Yeah,
for Brighton last season, 10 goals, 3 assists.
Yeah,
so he's in there, and rounding it off is. Oh no, that's everyone.
Yeah, okay.
And I forgot to mention my backup keeper, which was Ryan from Brighton.
Okay.
So I've gone Brighton heavy as well, which is surprising to me considering they were in the relegation scrap. But I do like watching him play.
Yeah. All right. Well,
and plus they're a massive bogey team of ours. Whenever we play them, we always lose.
I think for us, who is it for us? I think everyone. It can be Newcastle at times because I think.
Do you have any strikers on your bench?
Yes, but before I say that, we were one of the only 2 teams to have Joe Linton score against us. That has got to be shocking. No. That is what I'm most pissed off about.
He is pony and trap, isn't he?
Yeah,
Joe Linton.
They're desperately in need of a new striker in Newcastle. But anyway, so my fantasy league subs. So my other goalkeeper is Leno. So
good choice.
Yeah. Then I've got Fabinho. I think Fabinho is a very surprising player at times, especially in his performance against Man City.
Not the first name that comes to mind when you think of the Liverpool defenders. He's like the godfather free of the Liverpool back line.
Yeah. So I thought he was interesting to keep on the bench until someone else comes in. Then I've got a bit of a weird one, just again to save budget. But if they're saying that they're going to use him more this season, so I hope they keep to that. But I've got Ryan Sessegnon.
For Spurs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a weird one. I thought he was going to play an integral role last season for you because I thought he was fantastic at Fulham.
Yeah.
And then you bought him and he hasn't really done anything.
He was injured at the start and then we used him against Bayern and he was the one, well, besides from Harry Kane, he was the one person to score against Bayern, which is surprising in that. And in the preseason so far, he's been exceptional. So, I'm hoping that because of that, he gets more chance to play. And if they do use Kane and Son up front and then Sessegnon on the wing, I think that could be a good strategy to play, if I may say so.
Yeah, because it's going to be a lot of fun anyway, this fantasy lark. So
yeah.
Again, if you do want to join, Kieran's going to put the link to join my fantasy league in the Discord, and also probably on the YouTube video of this once we get this up on the internet.
Yeah.
Right.
And got one more sub.
One more thing.
I've got my final sub is Lacazette.
Oh yes. Well, that's an interesting one. You see, I'm not sure if he's going to stick around for us this season.
No.
No, and he didn't have the best times of it last season. He was struggling. He had various really long dry spells.
I don't know. I think I must have based that one off his performance against Spurs when he played against us the first
That
time.
one brilliant goal that we scored against you,
Yeah.
even though you, yeah, that's a highlight of his year. To be honest, that he's done very little else. But okay, fine. So yeah, those are our fantasy teams, and now we're going to move on to the listen to this segment. So first off, KB, what tune have you got for me today?
Okay, Robbie. So your one is Mastodon. Rufus Lives. So I can.
Mastodon.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, it was Mastodon. I was gonna say. Yeah. So Mastodon is any proboscidean belonging to the extinct genus that inhabited North and Central America during the late. Oh, sorry,
wrong page.
Wrong page. Okay, let's try. So they turned down. They cancelled last minute at Hellfest last year. No, sorry, that's Manowar. No, okay, Mastodon. So do you know what? I don't need a script for this. Okay, I know plenty of Mastodon, one of my all-time favorite bands. Started strong in like the early 2000s. A lot of their stuff was very conceptual, starting with Remission, which was based on the fire element, and then going to Leviathan, which was water, Blood Mountain, like earth, and then Crack the Sky, which was the ether of the world. Which was arguably probably my favourite album from them of all time.
Phenomenal album. That's definitely my favourite Mastodon album.
Probably the most emotional album from them as well.
That's how I got into Mastodon.
Yeah.
Was through that album.
Yeah, that and Blood Mountain are my two favourites. Then you had The Hunter, was it, after that? Which was a different sort of album.
I like The Hunter.
I liked it.
I like The Hunter.
I don't dislike it. It's probably one of my lesser favourites ones, but I don't think Mastodon have ever released anything crap anyway. But it definitely was like a sort of a polarizing album from them, from the majority of fans. And then you have
Once More Around the Sun.
Once More Around the Sun coming up next, and that kind of carried off from Hunter, but I think it did carry some elements from previously. And
I absolutely love the Motherlode from that album.
Yeah.
The Motherlode is a fantastic song with a great hooky chorus.
And in Emperor of Sand, it kind of incorporates, like, it's another conceptual album off that, but it takes elements from their concept albums and mixes it with like the sort of stuff you'd hear off Once More Around the Sun. So it's definitely a highlight as well from the 2010s.
Emperor of Sand is an interesting one. It's one of those albums that I kind of listen to, and it's probably a lot better than I'm making it out to be.
It's like Once More Around the Sun.
I rated it in my iTunes library the other day, and it was mostly 5 out of 5 tracks.
Yeah.
So I don't know why it just nothing really seems to spring up for me from that album that's that memorable, apart from maybe Show Yourself.
Well, for me, it's got to be Root Remains is my favorite off that album. I think it's just it's a long song, but like just that intro, then it goes into the heavy part is wonderful. But
they also had that EP, Cold Dark Place, was it called?
Yeah, and then they just they're releasing a new album soon, which, well, it's not a new album, it's more of like their uncuts, their cuts from earlier works, and they released Fallen Torches, which was
a great song.
Yeah,
great song.
Just
heard it the other week.
Mastodon song, and that leads to this song. But I've seen them in Sonosphere 2014, very good. And then I saw them same year at Brixton, where I lost my coat and I had to stay at my cousin's and wait the next day to get my coat. Yeah, that was not a good
I
night.
also saw them at Sonosphere 2014. Yeah, it was good. It was a good set.
Yeah. So yeah, that leads on to this song, which is, let me remind myself the name. No, Mastodon Rufus Lives. So this is essentially a Bill and Ted soundtrack. Would you believe it? Off their newest film.
I know nothing about Bill and Ted, really. Almost Ted nothing about Bill and Ted. No.
Yeah.
I've never seen Excellent Adventure or Bogus Journey. I do know. I don't mind Keanu Reeves. I quite like Keanu Reeves. I don't know. I've not really much of a desire to see it, really, which is probably sacrilege, saying this is about metal and rock, and it looks like a very good soundtrack.
Hmm.
I also heard the one that Weezer did recently for it, called "Beginning of the End,"
Yeah.
which is a fantastic song. I think they really are gonna, once Van Weezer comes out next year. I'm that's one of the albums I'm really hyped for.
Yeah. Lamb of
And I'm
God.
just seeing that Lamb of God and Culture Wars, Big Black Delta, Cold War Kids, they're all on this album, this
Yeah.
compilation.
So like Mastodon, when they do any sort of soundtrack or whatever, they don't play their usual stuff. They always go into like somewhere that you wouldn't expect them to go. Like if you know, like Aqua Teen Hunger Force, for example.
Yes, they were in Metalocalypse as well.
Yeah. So this is why I picked this one, because it's very interesting to hear something always unexpected from Mastodon. So if you would love to take it away, Rob, and
Will do.
give me
3.5 minutes. That's quite sprightly for a Mastodon tune. Usually their songs are longer, but yes. So I'm going to be listening to Rufus Lives, and I guess providing a running commentary of what I think.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting start. Very kind of ambient sort of feel. Weird, unsettling voice in the background. And here's the riff. Oh, very nice. Sounds like Gojira. Sounds like a whammy. They're using a whammy on the riff or something.
Everyone's copying Gojira these days.
Well, Braun's singing leads. That's always good. He's my favourite singer in Mastodon.
I just like he's improved so much with his vocals. Like he can really
phenomenal drummer.
For that kind of drumming and the way he sings, like at the same time, you know, it is a hard thing to do. Like I know, but you know.
Very nice. I like this. Troy's vocals. Troy's sort of Warlock-esque vocals that he does.
Yeah.
You know what? This sounds like it could be on Leviathan. It's got that sort of Megalodon kind of feel to it.
Mm. Oh yeah, because Megalodon just like had so many twists and turns in it as well, didn't it? Like...
But I really like that main riff with the whammy.
Mm.
I think it's a whammy, either that or it's just playing very high at the neck after doing a da 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 da. Yeah, this is I'm liking this so far. Definitely. Mastodon have always been one of my favorite metal bands. They're one of the bands that was kind of a gateway into more metal for me.
Mm-hmm.
And this is definitely serving its purpose.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it's the reason why I loved them so much for so many years and still do to this day. Especially when Brent jokingly said he hates metal music. And everyone went apeshit about that.
Yeah, but Brent's a massive troll, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's a very funny guy. And he just doesn't give a shit, really.
He's like,
I love him.
Yeah, he's like, I just did it for the money, to be honest. I don't really like metal.
Speaking of Brent, I think this might be a solo coming up.
Oh, he is an excellent guitarist as well.
He does some of my favourite solos I've ever heard, particularly on Oblivion from Crack of the Sky.
Gotta be honest, though, I think his... Did you ever see the download highlights from 2007 and their performance from that? I think Brent, he had something wrong with his voice.
His throat was messed up, I'm convinced. He sounded like a strangled cat.
Yeah.
I mean, he's never been the best singer live anyway, but I think he's under a lot of pressure. This solo, by the way, going off. I tell you, he's under a lot of pressure because he had a brain injury at one point, didn't he?
Did he?
Stemming from a fight which involved System of a Down's Chavo.
Oh.
And another guy. He got pushed to the pavement and cracked his head open.
Oh, God.
And also, he's a really heavy drinker. So both of those factors, the fact that he can sing and play guitar at the same time as well, those guitar lines that he plays at the same time singing, it's no wonder he struggles sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But I love him. I think he's a great guitar player.
Okay. Yeah, I know. Definitely. And everybody just wants Bill to do more stuff on the albums, but I don't think he is.
I think he's only ever sang on one Mastodon song, and it was like a bonus song from The Hunter.
Was it was it with that music video that had like it was like a
It was like Mr. Rogers' music video.
yeah.
Grom was like Mr. Rogers, and they
Yeah.
were and they were it was like a train
Yeah.
set going around that ended up into hell or something. Bizarre video. Anyway, hell yeah, that was Rufus Lives by Mastodon. I enjoyed that. But then again, I enjoy most of what Mastodon do. I'm with you there, Kieran.
Yeah, Deathbound, that's the name of the song, by the way.
Deathbound. Okay.
Yeah.
So that is presumably, is that going to be on their uncut or whatever compilation of B-sides that's coming out, presumably? Or is it just going to be on the Bill and Ted soundtrack, do you think?
I think it's just going to be on that. I think the album itself that's coming out is going to be more just their older stuff, essentially, just stuff that wasn't released before. So
well, I liked in that song. I like the riff, the opening, the main riff, I guess you call it, most of all in that.
Yeah,
very Gojira sounding with the whammy octaving thing going on.
Oh, most definitely.
Well, yeah, well worth checking out, I would say. So yeah, so my one for you, KB, is a band that we covered just now on the Slam Dunk lineup. They're both playing at Slam Dunk and Download next year, so they're going to be keeping busy if they both go ahead. Mm-hmm. But it is the band Wargasm from the UK.
Looking forward to this, because like I heard that it was in my video, me taking the piss out of them, because because he was going, "You're disgusting," and then I just kept going, "Oh, but you're nasty." Bit of a Scissor Sisters right there.
Yeah, but yeah, Wargasm, relatively new band. Just going to bring up my notes on Wargasm. I'm stalling quick here and say something smart.
Well, did you know that a Mastodon? Oh, where's that wiki page?
Forget it. I'm already on the page. So it's a project consisting of London DIY veteran Sam Matlock and international model Milky Way. That is her name.
Wow, is she big?
Milky. Is she big? It's Milky Milkie Way.
Along with his sister Galaxy.
Yeah, Mars Delight. Where happened to Mars Delights?
Oh, I don't know.
Bring back Mars Delights.
Bring back. Oh no, Twix biscuits still exist, but
Twix definitely still exist. Probably not in America, but yeah, we're totally diverging from the issue here.
You know the flat Twixes.
I mean, our favorite chocolate bars / biscuits is a whole nother avenue we're probably going to go towards at some point. But anyway, Sam Matlock and Milky Way met at a concert in Camden early 2019, and something strange was born. It's a collision of two personalities that can be likened only to fighting fire with fire. Though still at the beginning of its career, the intent of the project is clear. This is a sound, a visual, a lifestyle.
Oh. So they had intense wargasming happening when they met in Camden, and then they took a night bus home and all the way back to Crystal Palace, where they decided to have that angry encounter.
So they're definitely going for a sort of visual aesthetic within their music, I guess. It's because their but their Spotify bio just says Milky and Matlock, full stop. This is war. Kiss.
This. Oh, I feel like I'm singing.
So very much keeping their cards close to their chest, sort of band, you know. But I believe they've supported Creeper in the past. And Milk Teeth, so they're coming out of that UK rock scene. And the best way I can describe them is sort of Pantera meets Riot Girl, sort of. I don't even know, really. It's quite a unique kind of sound.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering what you're going to think of it. So do you have the cue to press play yet?
I do. Yes.
Okay, well, take it away.
Okay.
So this is Gold, Gold, Gold by Wargasm. And again, we'll be providing a running commentary, I guess, on this. So what are your thoughts so far?
It kind of like... got kind of that Audio Slave kind of vibe to it as well.
Interesting take.
Ooh, I like that. Atmospheric, like you like.
Yes, definitely. I just love when bands can tap into one specific kind of sound or emotion and then build a song around it.
I can imagine so many people screaming out loud to this live.
Yeah,
just this insane
definitely.
bit.
It's amazing that this band seemingly only consists of 2 people because it sounds massive. This song.
Isn't it 3? I thought there was a drummer as well.
I think it's just Milky and Matlock.
Fair dues.
That seems to be just them in all the promotional videos I've seen of them and photos.
But it's good to hear. Like I've only heard the one from Download, but I haven't heard this one. And they did, what was it? They did Download as well. It's like a "How I Feel" song, which is a great cover. May I mention?
I just think there's a lot of creativity going on in this song, and
and she's got quite a bit of attitude in her voice, which I like as well.
Definitely, absolutely. That's what you can't go wrong with a bit of attitude in your singing.
Definitely.
It really emphasizes the lyrical content.
I love how it says. I love how it says "angry songs for sad people" as well. It's I mean, I'm pretty sure that's all metal. Except for Eskimo Callboy.
Killswitch Engage would have a word with you about that, I think, because that is angry songs for positive people, I would argue.
Hopeful people, yeah, optimistic people.
Optimistic people. Incidentally, Jesse Leach from Killswitch said that there's going to be New Times of Grace hopefully out this year, and I cannot wait.
Oh, I'm intrigued with that. So yeah, because it takes like just a different setting from Killswitch as well.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love that riff. Oh, they know where to hit my soft spot. That sweet spot in my belly button.
Oh, thank God it's in your belly button. Jeez.
I was expecting that to be more shocking, but okay.
So yeah, Wargasm again. Just all the bands that are coming up from the UK scene right now. It just makes me super excited about where music is heading. Really.
And adding to library.
Adding to library. There we go. So success. Would you say with that one?
Much appreciated. Right.
No worry. So that was Wargasm from the UK with Gold, Gold, Gold.
Just removing my hearing aid.
So yeah, that was our listen to this segment. We're going to probably come up with some more for next week. I highly suggest you check both of those tunes out. Rufus Lives, Mastodon, and Wargasm, Gold, Gold, Gold. Now we come to another recurring segment and our last segment of the podcast for today. Would you rather?
Oh, my favourite. There we go.
Your favourite. We have a list of 100 would you rather questions from signupgenius.com. And I'm going to ask Kieran to pick a random number between 1 and 100. And I'll proceed to read out the would you rather question that lies within.
Okay.
So, Kieran, number, please, between 1 and 100.
76.
76. Would you rather have your own boat or your own plane?
Ooh, it's a bit of a tame one.
Bit of a tame one, yeah, but, you know.
Well, I think my own plane. I like to be a person who wants to visit like a lot of cities and things like that. And if I have my own plane, better chance of doing that.
Own boat would be interesting.
And there's no such thing as the Mile High Club on a boat. So.
Oh God. Yeah, your own boat, I guess, would be interesting. You know, as long as you're not trapped in a port in Portugal, you know, with a bunch of other old people on a cruise. Like COVID joke. Sorry, that backfired. Yeah, I know. Your own plane. I mean, there's always a danger of either crashing your plane or sinking your own boat. So, whichever's the lesser of the two evils.
Well, I mean, if you had your own plane, it'd probably most likely be a private plane, and there's less people to save. So, you probably have better chances of success. Whereas, you know, I think in a public plane, it's. I
mean, I'm just wondering how fast this plane. If your own plane is like Concorde, you know, and you can get from London to New York in like 3 hours.
Mm.
I would totally go for that.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I would love to not experience turbulence and accidentally choke on my own fork, but that's just me.
Well, why would you put your fork that far down your throat, though?
Well, what if I'm like just about to eat spaghetti or something, and it goes?
Well, I love the way your mind works sometimes, man. I really do. So we both agree plain on that one, then.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay,
to me.
awesome. Okay, another number then.
12.
12. Okay. So, would you rather become someone else or just stay as yourself?
Stay as myself.
Stay as myself. I think I would agree with that.
Because and the reason for that is that there's no point in there's no reason to better yourself if you would rather be someone else.
I feel like I've lived vicariously over the years through other people, and it's not a pleasant experience.
Yeah.
You know?
I you should never compare yourself to anybody else. It's that because their measurement of success is going to be different to yours, and it does not not allow you to set up personal goals in a way that has realistic expectations.
It's something that I'm still working on, as an individual, how to better myself in that regard of not comparing myself to others all the time and setting unattainable goals.
Yeah, it comes with. I think it comes with experience. I mean, it's that time in our 20s, from listening to like either my nan or my mum or whatever. Of that age where you're still discovering things, and I remember reading a book which said, "Don't find yourself, create yourself." I think that's a very interesting thing to keep on board.
Well, there's that book, isn't there? That the subtle art of not giving a
fuck
F
yeah.
word. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Just let you pollute all the airwaves with your F bombs all you want. Yeah. I've never read it, but I'm tempted to. Because sometimes I do feel like I care too much, especially about other people's issues.
Yeah, I think there's always going to be that blind spot, even though I'd like to say like I care a lot less about what people think of me now. There probably is, there probably will be some sort of element which I'll be like, that will be my Achilles heel, if you will.
Definitely. I mean, I guess we could put a lighter stance on this question. So if you could become someone else for like a day, who would it be?
Ooh. That's a good question. Do you have anyone in mind yourself?
Oh, that everything relates to music, so it's probably gonna be like, I don't know, Jesse Leach or
Well, now that you say that, I'd probably be
Chino Marino or one of my another one of my musical idols. Probably.
Yeah, I would probably be Devin Townsend if I had to be anyone.
Oh, that is a great shout.
The amount of positivity and charisma, like oozing out of that guy. Who would not want to be him?
I love Heavy Devi.
Unless someone
absolutely love him.
Who wants to keep their hair, I suppose. But
I had a Heavy Devi bit of a day yesterday where I was just listening to his music non-stop over the years, and he really is a sort of, he's eccentric as all hell, but he's really got his finger on the pulse in terms of how just musicianship,
yeah, no,
wholeheartedly. He is an artist in the true sense of the word.
Yeah.
So that's a great show. I like that. Okay. So, but on the whole, I think we both agree we'd rather be ourselves.
Yeah, definitely.
Good stuff. Let's do one more and then let's call it a day.
Yeah, sounds good to me. I pick number 55.
55. Okay. Would you rather? Oh dear, this could go several ways. Would you rather date someone you met online or go on a blind date? Now, I've known, Kieran, about your your certain struggles with meeting girls online and things.
Do you have to bring that up to me now? Well, I'm glad I'm in the situation I'm in now. So let's start off with that.
Yes, absolutely.
To be honest, I mean, with a blind date, you have no idea what you're gonna get. If there is like, if you have if you tell like the dating expert or whatever your ideals of what you look for in the other partner and stuff like that, then they can find someone suited to you. On the same subject, there is a show called Married at First Sight where they do this sort of blind marriage.
That thing. It's relatively new, isn't it, that show?
Well, yeah, it's they started re-airing season 4 from Australia, which was already aired in 2017, but oh my god, it's the worst thing I think they do in that show is pair people up who live like miles and miles away, like 3 hours away at points, and you're just like, if you're gonna keep up with this experiment, like, don't put everybody in the same situation where they're all like, how are they gonna deal with this and stuff like that. It's I think it's a bit unfair. But going back on topic, I would probably.
I mean, me personally, I would rather date someone that I met online, because at least you'll have got to know a bit about them beforehand.
Yeah, I'd say that as well. I mean, it can get like mentally draining at times, because I know from my experience I'd have people who would add me, like I'd say, like, what's your WhatsApp, after a few weeks, a few days or weeks of talking to them, and we'd agree to meet up, and then half an hour before, without me doing anything to set them off, they'd just block me. And that's happened like 2 or 3 times within the amount of women I've talked to. And even like in other areas, I've had people who've like been interested one moment, and then the next moment they've just totally lost interest whatsoever.
You've had moments where their friends have been complete dicks?
Well, not necessarily, to be honest. Except for one, that was from a download a while ago, but
we're not going to go into that.
Yeah, let's not go into that.
So, I actually almost went on a blind date once.
Yeah.
Almost. I was working at this theatre, and this girl came up to me and says, "Oh, so and so, she's just split up with her boyfriend, sort of thing, and she quite likes you. So we're going to try and get you set up on a blind date together."
Did you not to sound like
nothing?
No,
nothing ever came of it. I was just kind of like, "Oh, brilliant! Yeah, if you could just let me know when she wants to do it," sort of thing, and then I never heard anything else. So. I don't know what happened there, really.
I think, I don't know whether she was just looking for a quick, or I don't know.
No. Let's not get into that. Yeah, met online. I guess you just trust them more if you met them online, in a sense.
Yeah.
A blind date, you literally don't know anything about them. You don't know where they've come from, if you even know them or not. That's a much bigger gamble as far as I'm concerned. I think that's easy.
Yeah, I think the biggest pro and con of each with blind dating, it's just you and the other person. It's not a numbers game like it is online dating. Like, you're not talking to multiple people and they're not talking to multiple people, so it's not that case of they could find someone else and say to you, sorry but no. With blind dating, it's there's I suppose there's you find your exact match, and you get set up from there. And the con, as you said, is that you don't know anything about each other, so you could meet up, waste your time, and go on your merry way. And especially like rejecting someone in person can be a lot more awkward than rejecting them on an app. And then in terms,
last date I went on, meeting them online, she didn't even tell me face to face. She just basically texted me. Really? So that was a bit painful. And we ended up both going to the Heavy Music Awards together just afterwards.
Yeah.
But I didn't meet up with her at the time. I was completely out of my mind on Fireball.
I think
probably for the best, because she actually was with the person she dated after me at the time.
Yeah.
So there you go. But I'd definitely go online, I think.
Yeah, I'd go online. I think when you do online dating and stuff like that, I just think you got to keep a few things in mind. Like, I'm speaking in general now, of what's it called? Not putting your eggs in one basket for one. Seeing when someone is consistent to chat to, because I don't trust too easily yet. I think that's fair to say, and that's not like saying like about having trust issues or anything like that. It's just it takes time to develop trust with someone. So always. And it depends on your motives for going on online dating, but I don't like when people say it's just a hookup app like Tinder or something like that. I think it can be more than that. It depends what two people are looking for. Maybe there's a bigger ratio of people using it as a hookup app, but that doesn't mean that it's specifically a hookup app. Like me and Katie met on Tinder, believe it or not. So and we've been together nearly 2 years. So what does that say? And there's plenty of people on Reddit that have made posts saying 4 years later after meeting on Tinder and we're finally married. So I think
it can work. It can work. And on that note, I think we're going to call it a day.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for listening to episode 2 of the Key Yard podcast. Boy, we went on a while for that one,
but it was fun. Nevertheless.
Covered a lot.
Yeah. But that's gonna be like the formula of it anyway. It's gonna be a range. I think is the idea.
Of course.
But and
thanks to those on Twitch who tuned in.
Yeah.
And gave us some feedback. So next episode will probably be out next weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Same time, same place. We're gonna have to try and get these first two up onto your YouTube channel, presumably.
Yeah.
Maybe optimized versions of these.
Well, I'm hoping to like get a specific YouTube channel set up for it so that it can separate between the stuff I do on here and the stuff that I do on my main channel, because my main channel is more like sort of highly edited sort of stuff. So I kind of want to keep it separate, because that sort of stuff is like short and snappy, but like talk shows and things like that, I think is a different kind of market. I think if
of course, but yeah. So wow, we covered a lot. Thanks to our sponsor Chattoos again, and I don't want to steal your catchphrase, but do you want to go out?
I will, but in the meantime, if you like what you've seen here, then you can check out more of my stuff on this Twitch channel, as well as my YouTube, which is the same, Kieran Benji, and that's the same handle I use for my Facebook, my Twitter, computer, and
Piers Brosnan in that Fire Saga film.
And
what are you doing? You never told me that you were in the competition.
And then
the worst Swedish accent I've ever heard. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, my Instagram as well. Use the same thing for everything. Where can people follow you best, Rob, if they want to?
Oh dear. Well, I've made it my mission to avoid social media as much as possible nowadays, considering the shitstorm that's going on in the world right now. But I'm on Twitter as RobV93. I basically spend most of it retweeting Simpsons Arsenal because he is the best account on Twitter by a country mile.
Oh, I think I know.
You think you've seen it? Yeah. Rob Veriard, all one word, on Instagram. I mainly post covers, acoustic guitar covers of various songs, and Rob Veriard Music on Facebook, which is my music page.
Okay, sounds good. Well, one and all, thank you for watching, and until... Well, we've got some more gameplay stuff on Wednesday and Friday, but until next Saturday for this podcast, lights out.